We are into race week for the 2024 Cape Town Marathon, and we're here to tell you today to not use your GPS watch come Sunday. I know that's quite a shocking statement because we've spent thousands on these blimmin' devices, but we want to tell you today to make sure that you don't rely 100% on it on Sunday, because there's a pretty good chance you are going to miss your goal. My name is Brad Nadalt. I've got Lindsay Parry with me once again. Lindsay, I know people are probably going, what are you talking about? But this is something that you were reminded of on your run on Friday morning. Why are we telling people not to use their GPS watches come race day on Sunday?
Yep, I've been kicking myself literally for a week since we shot and put out the pacing video, and I was like, I didn't talk about using your GPS watch. So, I am so tired about reading when people miss their time because the race was long. The race wasn't long, guys. GPS is not accurate. And when you go and race around the world, in some instances, it's extremely inaccurate, particularly if races go through high-rise buildings. So you need to use the kilometer markings on the course. So we were at pains in our video to talk about checking that you're on the right pace. And I really meant to point out there that not on your GPS, on your watch, of course, but turn off auto
Hang on,
lap and
hang on.
use manual lap.
Before we get into how we're going to do it, you've obviously just touched on the fact that the GPS is inaccurate, and I'm telling you now, it'll happen next week, Monday. Hop into the Cape Town Runners Facebook group, and you're going to have so many people moaning that the route wasn't the right distance because their watch said it was X, Y, and Z. And the truth of the matter is, as Lindsay's just said, GPS watches are not 100% accurate because of the transfer of data and the movement in time. It's a rough guide. It's fairly close, but it's not exact. So if you're chasing a specific time, you are going to be disappointed if you are purely relying on your GPS watch. Most races, they should, and particularly the Cape Town Marathon definitely does. They have measured that route with a wheel by hand. It is literally exactly 42.2 kilometers. The Cape Town Marathon's working towards becoming an Abbott World Marathon major. They have to measure routes like that. So the kilometer boards are exactly at the kilometer points. So Lindsay, let's talk about how we get around this problem with GPS watches, particularly if we are chasing a specific goal. You spoke about turning off auto lap. Let's dig into that now.
Yeah, and that's it. Quite simply, turn off your auto lap and physically lap as you get to each kilometer board. The reality is that in a race, we don't have to check our pace 42 times, okay? But we do have to check it fairly accurately in those first 2 to 3 kilometers to make sure that we are not going out too hard. Thereafter, it really is fine to be checking yourself every 5 to 10 Ks once you know you've settled in that routine. But those first 3 Ks, kilometer board, lap, kilometer board lap. Now, of course, watches are progressing all the time, and so you don't actually have to turn off the auto lap for the manual lap function to work. But I advise turning off that auto lap so that you don't keep getting that information coming to you. Yeah, by my estimation, if you want to run, and I'm using this just because it's the easiest maths for me because I've done it before, but in my experience, a 3 hour marathon requires a 4:16 average pace. And on GPS, that works out to be between 4:12, 4:13 pace. So there is an absolute discrepancy of up to 8%, depending on the weather conditions, how many high-rise buildings there are, the make and model of the watch, etc. But it's just not accurate enough if you are chasing a very specific time. Then you need to rely on the course measurements, not on your GPS.
Yeah, Lindsay, and you mentioned 8%. I mean, obviously, the slower you go in time, relative time perspective, 8% becomes a lot when you're talking 4 hour, 5 hour, 6 hour marathons. So that's super, super important. And talking of pacing, if you haven't grabbed your pacing chart yet, you can pre-order them right now by clicking or by scanning the QR code that's on screen. You can also click on the link that's in the description to this video as well. And then you can pop through the Coach Parry stand at the expo. This week, we are going to all be there, which we are super looking forward to. to. Lindsay and I are both running on Sunday, so please do pop by. We're not going to be at the expo all the time, Lindsay and myself, but the rest of the Coach Parry team will be there. And if you are quite observant, you would have noticed that I changed my cap a few times in this video. If you missed it, go back and watch it again. But if you like these Coach Parry caps, you can pick them up at our stand at the expo as well. They are amazing. I absolutely love them. I've got a couple of bucket hats as well, which are pretty cool. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you there. And if, as Lindsay said, if you missed the pacing video, you can click on that on screen right now to figure out exactly how to pace the perfect Cape Town Marathon.